George Harrison, Got My Mind Set on You on BBC Sussex and BBC Surrey. This is Danny Pike. Good morning, and it's 11 minutes past 9. So let's meet Sam and Michelle Waller from East Grinstead. They're with me in the studio. Good morning, you two.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
I've got two for the price of one here. So Sam, I genuinely wasn't expecting you today because we know that you're very ill at the moment.
Well, yeah. Just a few side effects. Yeah.
We appreciate you coming.
A little bit lethargic.
Okay, well, chip in when you feel.
Thank you, yeah.
Like you want to. But, Michelle, you've got the bit between your teeth with your campaign to keep your husband and the father of your two children alive.
Yeah, definitely.
And with us. Okay, so first of all, tell me about this rare, incurable form of cancer that Sam has.
So Sam has a really rare form of cancer called wild-type GIST, which is relatively a younger cancer. A lot of young patients have it, and there's not very many patients in the UK that have this type of cancer.
He's 35 years old?
He's 35,
Sorry to talk about you as if you're not here, but...
No, that's fine.
Okay, and when did this come about? How long has he had it?
He was diagnosed actually a week before we had our first son, Joseph, and so when Sam was 30, but they think that he'd had it for a few years before that due to the size of the tumour he had in his stomach.
And how were you feeling at that time, Sam?
Devastated, devastated. I obviously couldn't... let Michelle know. It was 3 days before, wasn't it, that they told me that, 3 days before Joseph was born, that I was diagnosed with this cancer. I didn't know what it was. Obviously couldn't tell Michelle, didn't want to stress her out, obviously with the pregnancy going on and all that. And then, luckily it went from, knowing nothing about it to knowing more, and, as time's gone on, 5 years later, I'm still here.
So just let me get that straight in our heads. 3 days before your first son was born, you get this devastating diagnosis.
Yeah.
And you didn't tell Michelle?
No, I couldn't tell.
Were you happy with that?
4 weeks.
When you found out later?
Yeah, because I think, having a baby is so stressful as it is, it would have been obviously playing on my mind. And at that point in time, we didn't know what type of cancer Sam had or whether anything could be done. So... I think it was amazing that he went through that on his own for those first few days.
Must have been really tough for you. Because when you're a young man at 30 years old, it's not the sort of thing you expect to get, is it?
No, not at all. No. There's no right time or wrong time, really. But yeah.
How do you cope with the kind of the joy of having your first child and then this other diagnosis that you don't know what the outcome's going to be?
There were 1,000 different scenarios went through my head. I'm lucky enough to have, a lot of a very good family, strong friends and everything. And there were certain dark points where I thought, at least if I do go, then they're going to be supportive with my family and everything like that. And then. And until you know the final outcome, you don't know really what to think. And luckily enough for me, there's been, 5 years later, like I say, I'm still here.
And your second son, how old is he?
Second son, another little miracle.
He's nearly he'll be 2 in August, so he's 1.5.
Right, okay.
Here's Henry, so we've got our hands full.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
And this campaign.
Yeah, and so what's the prognosis for your journey here?
So Sam's cancer, we've been told, is incurable, inoperable now. So therefore, these types of drugs are life-extending drugs for Sam. And this is why it's so important that we can get this third drug, Regorafenib, put back onto the Cancer Fund list.
And why was it taken off the Cancer Drugs Fund? I'm guessing that's down to cost, is it, or effectiveness? Why have they withdrawn it?
It's been taken off due to cost, and also Regorafenib has been incorrectly grouped into the colorectal drugs, and so therefore it's measured against the effectiveness in fighting colorectal cancers. Now, this is the wrong category.
According to who? This is the question.
Yeah, according to, if for colorectal...
Certainly as far as you're concerned.
Yes, as far as I'm concerned. For colorectal cancer, Regorafenib is somewhat ineffective. However, for wild-type GIST patients, this is a really effective drug for them.
It's a cancer of the digestive system, is that right?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. Because the thing is, you've become little experts on all this now, haven't you? As you'd expect
in the last week.
But the bottom line, as far as the rest of us can see, is this drug that will potentially keep your husband alive and the father of your children alive for longer is being withdrawn down to funding.
Yes, and the thing about this is it's such a rare cancer that last year only 29 people were administered Regorafenib. So the total cost is relatively small to keep 29 people alive and extend their life.
And how long could it... this is terrible talking about it in these terms, but how long could it extend Sam's life for?
Nobody knows. It could be 6 months, a year. All wild type GIST patients are affected differently on each drug. Some of them will be on it, doesn't work for them. Some of it will be on it 6 months, some a year. It's very, very random.
And is it expensive, this drug that they're withdrawing? Obviously, it would be.
£4,500 a month.
Okay.
So, relatively small amount for just 29 people.
Yes. But for a limited time, because it only extends your life. It doesn't cure you. It doesn't keep you alive for, 10 years, does it?
No one knows.
No one knows. Potentially it could.
Potentially it could.
It's everybody reacts to it differently.
And I suppose the obvious question is that, the funding for these kind of treatments is not a bottomless pit, and so perhaps a judgment call has to be made. But if you're on the receiving end of that judgment,
yes,
that must be very hard to take.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
And also, they've said that a bed in hospital will cost around £400 a day. So therefore, if Sam was in hospital for a month, that would be £12,000. And this drug is only £4,500. So therefore, if you were to look at it like that, then surely, this should be reinstated.
So where do you go from here? Tell me about this petition you've got going. What's happening with that?
So we have a great big campaign on Facebook, Twitter, and it's called #100,000 Voices. Now, this is a campaign that the GIST patients have set up. You'll be seeing boards with them saying how this drug can keep them alive. There is loads and loads of information on a website, and that's www.gemma.peacock.org. It's got press releases on there, videos, how you can sign the petition, an easy, quick button to sign the petition. And if you do want to sign the petition, you'll get an email come back from ePetition, and then you just need to confirm that to get your vote counted.
So you get your vote. You can do that, get your vote counted, and what happens when you reach 100,000 voices?
So when we reach our 100,000 goal, which we will, we need to keep going. We will get the opportunity to hopefully get this debated in the House of Commons to reinstate the drug. And
it gets debated. Whether it changes the policy, gets things turned around, is another matter. You just don't know, do you?
We've still got a big way to go, but that'll be the start of it for us.
Okay, we'll give those details again out at the end. But how about day-to-day life? How do you carry on in the face of all this? I understand, are you both from East Grinstead originally?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right, so all your friends that you grew up with, are they backing your campaign?
Our friends have been absolutely amazing. And on Facebook and Twitter almost 24 hours a day, tweeting celebrities. We've had quite a few celebrities tweeting back now. Vernon Kay, Davina McCall. I was on Keith Lemon's Twitter page the other morning, which is quite weird. And we seem to be getting some backing now, which is fantastic. We did a big video last night, a big dance video with about, must have been nearly 100 of us, which we're hoping to put on viral this week at some point, just to give awareness for everybody. So
you're really doing all you can, all that's within your power,
yeah,
to keep this, to get this drug funded again, and to keep Sam with us.
Yeah.
How are you dealing with it day to day at home with the boys? I mean, they're very young, so I don't know how you even start to have this conversation with them.
Yeah, I mean, you try and we're trying to keep them out of it. My little one obviously is completely oblivious to it, and Joseph's obviously in school, but I'm still. This new drug sort of hit me a little bit hard, but I'm still trying to keep as normal as possible, really, because as you know, take each day as it comes, sort of thing. That's all you can do.
How has it affected your relationship? Because you two seem really incredibly close.
Yeah, I mean, it does
We've been
push.
Together years, haven't we?
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's hard, It's a hard thing to live with. Sam doesn't always feel very well, and we have got the two boys, which if anyone's parents out there, they know how stressful it is just having two young children.
And so you're carrying that a lot of that burden yourself.
Yeah, and I work 3 days a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tough. But anybody in my situation would do this for their family. So we all have to get together and fight this.
And day-to-day life, do you try and keep it as normal as possible in the meantime?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we try and keep it as normal as possible, and we try and keep it as normal for the children. We've got fantastic friends that will pick up the kids for us and help us with the school run and things like that, which makes life so much easier. And yeah, we just try and keep it as normal as we can, and they make us laugh and they keep it normal for us. If we didn't have them, I think it would be even tougher.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
What about you personally, Sam? How do you face the future, knowing what is potentially coming?
That one day at a time is all you can do, and just try and keep that smile up. It's, mainly for the boys and my wife. It's all you can do. It's all you can do.
And how do you feel today? I mean, I wasn't sure if you were coming on. I'm delighted that you've come in. I hope it's not been too much of an effort for you.
Yeah. I mean, I was quite. Yeah, today this drug sort of hit home a little bit this morning, so I was quite tired. And I've also lost out on half a day's money as well, which I was rather hoping you could refund me with.
Hang on. I'll have a little dig around in the pocket. Yeah. This kind of thing, having the opportunity to come on the radio and everything is it's overwhelming. It really is. It's just, yeah, it's really be really interesting to know how people are feeling about it today. Shirley Ann on Facebook says, I hope you get the treatment you need. Good luck, in capital letters.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, right, so just tell us the website again, and also the hashtag if people are online today, Michelle.
So if you're online, my Twitter is @WallerMish, that's MICH, and the hashtag is hashtag 100,000 voices, and the website for you all to go on is www.gemma.peacock.org.
So you can find out more about this condition.
Yeah, there's loads of information on there.
How it affects you, and really, what would you say? Say that this debate in Parliament goes ahead. What would you say to the MPs who are debating it and making a vote?
Wow. They just don't realise how, much that it would mean to us for, and to our family to be given with the boys extra time, with their dad. And it's so important to our family to have this reinstated.
We'll keep in touch. Do you think you'll get there? You got 50,000 signatures now on this petition. How long before you're at 100,000?
Oh, well, I'm hoping this week because I'm absolutely exhausted. But, we will just keep going until we get there. We've got until the 30th of March to get these 100,000 votes. So
we're up against the clock as well?
We're up against the clock,
So a couple of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, look after each other. Look after those boys.
Yeah, thank you.
And I wish you all the best with whatever comes your way. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you both. Good luck.
Cheers.
Dr. Ramesh Balusu, one of the country's leading specialists in this type of cancer. Dr. Ramesh, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well this morning, thank you. We have Sam, who is suffering from this particular form of cancer, and his wife Michelle with me in the studio as well.
Mm-hmm. I heard the story. I was actually on the way to Heathrow, so I did hear the story.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed for listening and for joining us as well to give us your expert opinion on this. I mean, how rare is this GIST?
I mean, GIST as a whole are very rare cancers. We see about 15 to 20 per million population. Among the GIST, we have a subtype of GIST called wild-type GIST, which is what Sam has got. They are much rarer. We are looking at about 1 maybe to 2 million population, so not more than 100 people per year in the whole UK.
So for a start, he's really rare.
This is the rarest of the rarest cancers.
Okay, it's gastrointestinal stromal tumours, GIST.
That's right. It's a rare type of sarcoma of the digestive tract.
And in terms of treatment, the drug that potentially could extend Sam's life, how do you feel about this as a medic, and your whole career is about preserving life? How do you feel about having to make a cold, hard financial decision on a treatment like this?
I mean, without going into the politics, my primary aim is to try and keep my patients well and keep them alive for as long as I can. With the rare cancers, we have a completely different set of rules. What has happened with this drug is that this drug called regorafenib is actually quite a useful drug in this type of cancer compared to, say, the bowel cancer, which the CDF combined this drug with. It is not a very effective drug in bowel cancer, but in rare type of GIST, this wild type GIST, it seems very useful. and we have had patients who've been responding very well to the treatment. So our disappointment was when this announcement came out about 6-8 weeks ago, is that they made a mistake in combining the wild-type GIST patients, or the GIST patients as a whole, with the bowel cancer patients, because these two are completely different types of cancers. And that's where we are trying to highlight the difficulty with rare cancers, where the drugs we have are very limited number, and also the patients we have are very rare. We can't do the big trials we can do in common cancers like breast cancer, bowel cancer. So whatever drugs we have only got one drug, and that's it. We don't have any drug after this. So more research is needed, and we are in UK, we are working very closely with the GIST Support UK, which is the patient support organization. We have set up a national clinic in Cambridge, which runs 3 clinics a year. And we get specialists from all over the country to sit down and talk to the patients and give advice. So that's happening on a regular basis. And the next clinic is going live in April, in about 4 or 5 weeks' time. And the clinics are held in Cambridge once every 3 months. So people like Sam, we're happy to see them in the clinic. So the main thing is to get this drug back onto the CDF list. That's the most important thing. And we are actively encouraging everybody to sign up to the petition so that we can have a debate in the Parliament.
Dr. Belusu, you've made Michelle cry. Why?
Just because it's just, so real what he's saying.
This miscategorising of the drug.
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
It's in the wrong category. And so if Sam was your patient, I mean, I don't know how much you know about Sam's prognosis, Dr. Belusu, but do you think this drug could help him?
Regorafenib, we have been using it wild-type GIST patients for about 1.5 years now, and we have seen a fairly good, what we call as durable responses, much better than what we were expecting. The aim of the treatment actually is to try and keep Sam alive for the next drug. The next drug may not be far away, and there is a huge national and international effort to try and find the new drugs for these rare cancers. These rare cancers are very difficult to treat, and they have to be treated in specialist centers. And the important thing is, if the patient is actually responding to treatment, and if they have a drug which is likely to extend their lives, we want to try and keep them alive for as long as we can, so that they're ready for the next drug when the next drug comes along. And that's what the aim of the treatment should be, not about the cost, not about the who's funding it and where the money is going to come from. With the rare cancers, you have a completely different perspective.
Yes, Sam, what do you say to that? What the doctor's been saying?
Yeah, he's hit the nail on the head, isn't he? Everything he's just said is just. Again, overwhelming.
Where does the power lie here? Is it the Cancer Drugs Fund? Is it about them changing their mind, or is it about Parliament telling them to change their mind?
I think the Cancer Drug Fund is doing a difficult job. I think we have to acknowledge that. We have a finite amount of money and limited pot of money to fund various things in the NHS. As specialists, as consultants, we acknowledge that we cannot use every single drug which is available to us. But my argument has always been that in rare cancers, we cannot have that kind of luxury where you can say we only fund drug A and B, not drug C, because there's no drug D. So this is the kind of argument we are trying to have with the... whereas with bowel cancer or breast cancer, there are about 10 or 15 different types of medications available. So if drug B fails, you got drug C fails, you got drug D. So you can actually go on using various interventions.
But in this case, drug C is the last option currently.
Currently the last option, and we want to make sure that every patient who has a metastatic GIST, meaning a GIST which is not operable, will get the benefit. Hopefully they should get some life extension from this, and also try and keep them alive for the next drug, because next drug may be just around the corner.
That would be something. Listen, Dr. Ramesh Belusu, I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy, but what you've said here has had a real impact for Sam and Michelle in the studio.
Thank you so much.
I mean, we are very happy to work with Sam, and Sam has got details of our patient director as well, Jane Bressington, who has been working tirelessly for the last 4 or 5 years to try and raise the awareness for this wild-type GIST patients. And we have a website which Sam may already be aware of.
Is that the Pause GIST?
Pause GIST, yeah.
Yeah.
pausegistclinic.org.uk. So we need to work together. This is the most important thing with the patients, the carers, the healthcare professionals. All of us need to work together for this rare cancer. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere success-wise.
Well, really appreciate your expert opinion. Thank you for spending some time with us today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye, Sam.
Bye.
Bye, Michelle. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Dr. Ramesh Balusu, who is consultant clinical oncologist who specialises in that gastrointestinal stromal tumour, which is the wild type that Sam has. That was amazing to see you two and your reaction as he was speaking there, because, you know, obviously for you it's the most important thing right now. Yeah. But here's somebody whose whole life has been in this kind of work, kind of backing up what you've said, which comes from the heart from you, but it also comes from his head, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is amazing, you know, to hear a doctor's, you know, say exactly what we're saying and have been saying for ages. It just makes it all, you know, even more real, doesn't it?
Okay. Christine Dipple says on our Facebook page, I've signed the petition. Good luck to you both. Jess says, we send billions abroad. It's not our problem, yet we can't afford to look after our own people. I'm ashamed to be associated with this country. Well, Jeff, maybe you can do a little bit to help these two with the petition that they've got online. Thank you again very much for coming in. I'll let you get about your day. I don't want you to miss the second half of your day's work. Sam.
Thank you very much.
Okay, listen, good luck you two. Keep us in touch with how it goes. It's BBC. Today we met another couple who are younger but also facing real challenges in their life. That was Sam and Michelle Waller from East Grinstead, born and bred in the area, loads of friends and family still in the area. And Sam has this untreatable form of cancer in his digestive system, and he recently found out that the last resort life-extending drug that could have been used is now not available to him from the Drugs Cancer Fund. And we even heard the doctor, didn't we, say that actually if he has this drug, it might extend his life long enough for the next potential drug that could extend his life even further. So obviously for them, with 2 sons under 5, a really critical time in their life. And some reaction to that. Andrew in Littlehampton, good morning to you.
Good morning to you. How are you?
I'm well this morning. How are you doing? Okay.
Well, I was doing all right until I heard that call with, was it Sam and Michelle? It's just heartbreaking, and, you know, my heart absolutely goes out to them. What a terrible position to be in when you're fighting cancer, which is one thing, looking after a couple of young kids, which is another. And then you've got to go out and raise signatures for a petition to get a drug that to me seems like a no-brainer you should be able to have.
And so, how did it leave you feeling after you heard their story? And, you know, the decision to remove it from the list, it might be on the wrong list in the first place, the fact that it's £4,500 a month just to treat Sam. What do you make of all of that?
Well, first of all, I thought the lady, Michelle, wasn't it? That
yes.
She made a brilliant point about the cost of, you know, treatment for people isn't cheap. Any treatment. Mm-hmm. So, you know, people are talking about £4,500 as if it's a huge sum of money. It is a lot of money. But a hospital bed, as Michelle said, costs £400 a day. Well, if Sam's not on this drug, presumably he's going to end up being hospitalised for longer. So it's not necessarily as much of a saving as people are perhaps making it out to be. And as regards costs, I mean, Sam's treatment, even at that amount that you're saying, would be about $40,000 a year. Well, I've just read an article where the head of NHS Information, a gentleman called Tim Kelsey, claimed $46,000 a year in expenses.
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe he needs those expenses to do his job. You know, it's really easy to pluck sums out of the air randomly, isn't it? And I certainly take your point.
That, but looking through it, it's all for first-class travel and first-class hotel expenses. People are dying, and other people at the NHS seem to be living the life of Riley.
Okay, I mean, so what would you hope for from what you heard from Sam and Michelle? Is it about the reclassification of the drug and what Dr. Balusa said to us earlier?
Yeah, I missed that call from the doctor, and it's interesting because I was going to make that point. What I did after I'd heard the interview with Sam and Michelle, I went onto the GIST Support website, and there's a statement on there by somebody called Professor Ian Judson. He's the head of the sarcoma unit at the Royal Marsden Hospital, so presumably knows as much about this as anybody else. And a couple of points that he makes that I think are really interesting. One is that regorafenib allows the patients to live for considerably longer, and I think considerably longer has got to be worth a shot. If Sam's little boy was he a year?
They're 4.5 and 1.5.
Well, if it could buy Sam 1.5 years longer, that's twice the amount of time that he's had with his little boy that he's had the chance to have already.
You're making compelling arguments here, Andrew, by the way. And also what Dr. Belusu said to us was that actually if he was on this drug, there may be another one just down the line, and it could extend Sam's life long enough so that drug he could then take to keep him going even longer.
And I think they said there was only sort of 29 or 30 people that are likely to have or need this drug at any one time.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, a decision to reinstate the drug now is going to save 30 lives, because there will be 30 people that are on it when the cure is found, won't there?
Yeah, and Dr. Belusu said to us that, while not getting involved in the politics of the thing, he as a medic, his sole reason for being a medic is to keep people alive, and I think the implication of that was that then if this drug could keep Sam alive till perhaps the next one comes along, then he would have to give it. He would want to give it.
That's a Hippocratic oath. Now, another thing, the Cancer Drugs Fund, which is where the money's been taken away from, their press release says that they will not remove any drugs from the list if they are the only drug available for a given disease. Now, going back again to Professor Ian Judson, he's saying that regorafenib is the only treatment for GIST once it's proven to be resistant to the other drugs that are available.
But it's classified in a different set of drugs at the minute. So if it was reclassified, then potentially you could prescribe it for this.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe just one other point.
Yeah, sure.
Public opinion must count for something. I've just looked on the government website where the petition is. I signed, by the way, and didn't hesitate to do so. And
that's my next question.
It takes 30 seconds. You click the link, and then an email comes through immediately. And it's like a validation email. You reply to the validation email, and your vote counts. I'm looking, there's 4,900 petitions on the website. The top 6 have had the following votes in the last hour. This will actually blow your mind. It's amazing. 18, 21, 22, 26, 70, and 590. And I guess you can tell which one's got 590.
Really?
That's number of votes in the last hour, and that's on an official government website. That's one vote every 6 seconds.
Well,
the other thing to bear in mind is that by voting for it, even if people aren't sure whether it should be reinstated or not, remember that a vote is only you saying, let's debate it again in the House of Commons.
Okay, and you know what? The other thing that we know, Andrew, people need to feel some kind of motivation to take some action, even if it is just going to a website and clicking on a link and clicking on an email that comes back to you. People need to feel something about the people involved in that, or the cause, or whatever it is, to actually take that action, which can it can take a couple of minutes, but people actually got to feel moved enough to do it.
I would normally do this sort of thing, but I was, really quite upset by the interview, and then I was angry, and I thought, well, what can I do? All I can do is do my vote. So I've done my vote. I've made my call. I'm going to urge my friends and family to do the same, and just hope that we can find something that can help these poor people.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed.
No, thanks for having me on.
Take care. Bye-bye. And we started our day today telling you about Michelle and Sam Waller from East Grinstead. We met them earlier on the programme this morning at 9 o'clock. They have 2 boys under 5 years old. Sam has an incurable cancer of the digestive system. A drug which could help him live longer has been removed from the Cancer Drugs Fund. They've started a petition to get that decision discussed in Parliament. A leading oncologist was on the programme in this field telling us he thought the drug had been wrongly classified and that should be looked at. And the petition needs 100,000 signatures to get the whole thing discussed in Parliament. It started the day at 50,000. We've just checked. It's at 69,190 signatures So that's up nearly 20,000 on the day. And people have done that because they felt moved to do so by what Sam and Michelle told us earlier. So if you'd still like to get involved, on Twitter, hashtag 100,000 voices, or if you go to this website, there's a link to that petition. It's gemmapeacock.org. That's Gemma with a J, gemmapeacock.org.
A woman from East Grinstead is calling on 100,000 people to support a petition to help reinstate a cancer drug that could prolong the life of her husband. Just days before the birth of his first son, Sam Waller was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer back in 2010. He's aged just 30. His wife, Michelle, says the drug should never have been withdrawn for the handful of people with this very rare condition.
So we have a great big campaign on Facebook, Twitter, and it's called hashtag 100,000 voices. So when we reach our 100,000 goal, which we will, we need to keep going, we will get the opportunity to hopefully get this debated in the House of Commons to reinstate the drug.